Spinning records, got the lights down low. Souldisco, where the groovy people go. Hit play, let the music flow. Old school beats with a modern glow.
Hello everybody and a very warm welcome back to the latest episode of Hidden Jewels of Soul and Disco. I do hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. In this week's episode I'm featuring a group which is very often under the radar, but they totally deserve a bright spotlight. Therefore I'm featuring The Hesitations. A soul group from Cleveland turned Broadway anthems and film music into jukebox-ready hits. And in 1968 they reached the US charts with Born Free. Their arrangements were precise, their harmonies smooth as velvet. These are The Hesitations, an underrated group of the 1960s. By the mid-1960s, Cleveland was buzzing. Clubs like Leo's Casino brought major R&B acts to the Midwest. In this environment, The Hesitations formed in 1965. Their approach stood out. Instead of focusing only on originals, they translated well known melodies from film, pop and Broadway into multi-part dynamic soul rooted in gospel, driven by tight rhythm sections and polished with tasteful horns. But what was the classic lineup? Well, we have George and Charles Scott, Fred Deal, Robert Shepard, Arthur Art Blakey, Philip Dora and Leonard Veal. 7 voices that both lead and support, with rotating leads and harmonies that color every phrase. The production stays lean: drums, bass, guitar, keys, unstated horns, leaving room what matters the most, the voices. And they were hungry. In 1965, The Hesitations haunt a church-bred doo-wop tight harmony and blend in Cleveland and decided to take a swing at the big leads. There we have, of course, Motown in Detroit. But, the first audition didn't went so well. They got no deal. They were turned down. They actually sounded too close to the Four Tops. But instead of folding, they drove home and rehearsed relentlessly. Then they went back. And that persistence kept them in Detroit's orbit. Shelley Hames and Jack Ashford from the Funk Brothers, who's also known for percussion arranger and producer, pulled them into the Pied Piper's circle. Sessions were cut in Detroit. The material was licensed to Cap Records, yielding the single Soul Superman in late 1966 and the LP Soul Superman in 1967. With Soul Superman, the first stage ignites. In 1966-67, a driving groove, a clear hook, plenty of call and response. The track connects in clubs and, very important, also on radio, and opens the door to a full-length album. In 1967, the debut Soul Superman arrives on Cap Records as KL 1525 in mono and KS 3525 in stereo. The timing is ideal. Why? Well, soul is now fully in the mainstream and The Hesitations deliver a cohesive compact LP that blends radio-friendly hooks with dance floor energy. Sonically, the record leans toward the Detroit sound. Tight rhythm section, focused horns, great tempos, and behind-the-scenes figures from the Pied Piper's circle contribute stylistically close to the Funk Brothers and Motown approach. Not as a copy, but as an elegant, distinctive reading. Soul Superman is packed with strong material. Beyond the title track, standouts include She Won't Come Back. It's a bittersweet with a compact horn figure. You Can't Bypass Love. Up-tempo, especially built for radio airplay. And I Believe To My Soul, which has a deep R&B feel with room for lead phrasing. That's what Love is a northern soul energy classic and hard to backbeat. I'm Not Built That Way, we have also I'll Be Right There and So Kind of Love. Select cuts were issued and in 1967 released as single. Notably, So Kind of Love and You Can't Bypass Love extending the album's reach on radio. Already in late 66, Soul Superman had paved the way as a single, often paired with I'm Not Built That Way. Trade press reported early. A Record World named Soul Superman a 4-star pick in November of 1966 and an unmistakable airplay signal. Soon after, Billboard placed the single in its R&B Spotlight singles. On June the 3rd, in 1967, Record World's album review singled out Soul Superman, citing So Kind of Love and She Won't Come Back as strong cuts, an indication of the album's radio-ready hooks and perfect running times. It also included polished vocals and arrangements, so the recipe for a perfect soul song or soul album has been given. And well, here it is in all of its 60s, late 60s glory. I love these psychedelic colors. I love the TV show Batman from the late 60s. I'm pretty sure every one of you remembers that, which was also very colorful.
Emergency. Batman speaking. Warning all of you to brace yourselves for big news.
The biggest.
Tell them, Robin.
Holy superlatives, Batman! It's really exciting.
And well, this is a very nice reflection of things which were very in at that time. And let me show you the back, where we also have a beautiful picture of the group on the back. I get that question every time. If you want to have an original copy, they tend to be sometimes in the 3 figures, depending once again on the condition. But they're out there and they are available. It's highly, highly recommended. But let's continue with the story of the album or the group. In 1968 came the group's biggest single, Born Free. They transformed the film theme into a yearning soul ballad with gospel-style dynamics. The result? US Hot 100, Top 40 and Top 5 on the R&B charts, plus a Top 40 showing in Canada. For a group outside the big hit factory, it was a statement. And their signature moment. 1968 stayed productive. The Impossible Dream, one of my favorite songs and also covered countless times, reached the top 50 of the Hot 100 while Climbing Every Mountain and The Whiter Shade of Pale added further US-Canadian chart notations. The common thread? Familiar melodies reshaped emotionally with choral voicings and heightened drama. In February 1968, tragedy struck. George King Scott died from an accidental gunshot wound. Accounts agree it was an accident, and in later recollections from within the band's circle, the shot is said to have gone off during a car ride, striking Scott in the head. That detail comes from a memory-based testimony, not an official police report, but the core fact remains: an unintended shot that devastated the group. In the aftermath of 1968, the original lineup began to unravel. Before the move to GWP, Cap issued the group's final 2 LPs in late 1968. Where Were We At?, which was released at Cap KS 3561, and Studio Set leaning into contemporary pop and standards. And Solid Gold, on cap KS3574, credited on the sleeve as a GWP production, with their takes on charts material like A Wider Shade of Pale, People Got to Be Free, Stay in My Corner, Groovin', and more. These two albums effectively close the Hesitations LP era. In 1969, now recording for GWP proper, a handful of 45s followed. Most notably, Is This the Way to Treat a Girl? You Bet It Is on GWP 504, and Signs of a Reorientations Before Things Quietly Ended. And the original lineup dissolved. In the 2000s, the name The Hesitations resurfaced with shifting lineups. Among them, Arthur Art Blakey as the voice of a later phase. In 2013 came the long overdue recognition, the introduction into the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame, with Leo's Casino, likewise honored as an historic venue, closing a circle from local stage to national acknowledgement. The Hesitations embody soul with a deep feel for melody and a bridge between pop and gospel drama. Unfortunately, that's the story of the Hesitations. There are barely any informations out there, but I still wanted to give you information about this group because I totally adore them. And like I said in the beginning, they also deserve as much recognition and spotlight as all the other groups out there. I highly recommend that you check out the group's material. You'll find some of the material on Spotify, but a lot of material on YouTube. And if you like that episode, I also highly suggest that you check out the playlist appearing here, and I catch you on the next one.